You first. You're over.
Henry Dvorak.
Oh, you're gonna do okay. And
I'm
Al
his brother.
Dvorak.
Enlisted.
And what age were you when you enlisted?
17. No, 16.
Really?
Yeah, because Ma had a sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 16.
What branch did you join?
Army.
What branch?
Wow.
And I enlisted in the Navy.
McCook.
Ojibwa.
I was tired of working in the stone quarry.
I didn't want to be drafted into the Army and crawl around in the mud. That's the truth.
It was the one that was open at that time of the day, at the time of the week. The rest of them were closed up.
You mean the recruiting office?
Yeah, the recruiting office.
Okay.
When I was in, I was working in Duluth and Shepherd Stone Quarry. Remember them in McCook?
It's Stone Quarry, yeah.
$1.25 an hour. It's cold. It's Stone Quarry in the wintertime. It's cold. And I couldn't think of anything worse than that, much less the Army. Had to be better. So join the Army. I'll get out of here. Well, it's either join the Army or go back to school. I think I had.
Well, you're going to be drafted sooner or later.
Yeah.
So.
I was a junior. No, I was a senior in Morton High School. Yeah. And I got tired of school. In fact, I was getting ready to get kicked out. One assistant dean, he had it in for me. And I know that. And so I figured I better get out of here while I was getting good.
Did Mom give you a lot of static that she had to sign, or was she willing to do it, or do you remember?
No, she was willing to do it once she found out that I was getting kicked out of school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She figured the Army was the best place for you.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy that was that I was working for in the quarry.
Yeah.
Was he lived in McCook. Dominic something was his name. I couldn't figure it out. And he wouldn't do something for. He wouldn't give me a different job or something else. I had a Penton's dynamite.
Oh, okay.
And the big box, you know, the big one bowler that had to be blown up. Well, they would drill the hole and I'd put the dynamite in it. And it would run like hell. And yeah, it was a pretty dangerous job. But he wouldn't give me a different job, and
so you went from the dynamite to get
Being
shot
shot
at. I don't know. In the service.
I know one thing. You sure don't say anything to a corporal that's going to be your platoon sergeant. You get in all kind of trouble.
Oh, well, I went to Great Lakes Naval Training Center, and it was in January, and that's outside of Chicago, and it was cold. Cold. It was
I
cold.
went to Fort Riley, Kansas, and in the middle of August.
Hot.
And it was cold.
It was cold.
Cold.
Really?
Yes. We were walking down the road, and there was a dog frozen alongside the road. It was a coyote. He froze to death.
When I got boot camp, I figured the best thing is get to know somebody. You know, you're better off knowing somebody. Yeah, but the night before, I said, "What the heck did I do?" Because well, you know, I was at home all the time.
Yeah.
And then they put me on a bus, and I went to, I think it was Minneapolis, Minnesota.
From Wisconsin, Minnesota.
Yeah. Then they put you up in a hotel room, motel room, and you know, you're by yourself. And I said, "Oh man, this is not. I should have done this."
This is not what I put in for.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be this fun. Oh yeah, well, see, he's been 10 years on me, but I can remember. He went in 10 years before me.
Yeah.
Yeah. A.D. Whitaker, aviation. He was aviation, and he was a first class. So he was the, what do you call them, drill instructors? Yeah, I think they call them drill instructors.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was strict. And that's the way boot camp is.
Yeah.
You go from a civilian life to military life. You do as you're told.
No, I forgot. See?
How did you get through
By the skin
basic?
of my teeth.
Yeah.
Obviously, other than you two.
Oh, no, not that I know of.
I don't think there was anybody else.
Well, there was only us, 2 boys, that was it.
That's it.
Dad and
Yeah.
No, Dad didn't serve.
grandparents.
No.
Korean,
And where exactly did you go?
Korea.
And where else?
Huh?
Anywhere else?
That was it, mostly in
Japan. You
Korea.
were in Japan too, weren't you?
Yeah, Japan.
Oh, I didn't serve in the war.
Where'd you go?
Oh, well, let's see. I was in Washington, D.C. for about 1 year and 3 months. Then after that, I went aboard the Intrepid, the aircraft carrier. And we went, it was in the Mediterranean. And I flew to Naples, got on the Mississinawa, which was an oiler, and we replenished the Intrepid at sea. And the Intrepid was here, and the Mississinawa was here, and I was here. So I had to get to the Intrepid, and I was highlined across. Yeah, in one of those cages, they shot the line across and put me on top on the line, and away I went. When I got out of the cage, I kissed the ground of the
How
ship.
far of a
I guess we're 200 or 300 feet apart. Yeah. That was a trick.
It was about 10 o'clock at night. The tide was out. And it was in Incheon. We made the landing at Incheon, Korea.
And who took you there?
Huh?
Did you fly or were you on a ship?
voice.
Come on, I want to know. You were on a ship.
We was on a ship.
The Navy took you there.
No, no. These guys were civilians
The cruise ship.
on LSTs.
That was Navy.
They couldn't get no Navy people to serve on LSTs.
Why? Okay.
Were you on one? That's why.
It's a little thing, I know. It's
What?
still a boat or a ship.
Yeah, I joined in 1949, and the war broke out in 1950, in July of 1950. And when I joined, I was going to the armor school in Fort Benning, Georgia, which was tanks and stuff like that, you know. Well, I got sent over to Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. And from Camp McCoy, Wisconsin, I went to Fort Sheridan. No, not Fort Sheridan. In Colorado. Fort Carson, Colorado. In the 14th RCT. And that was a mistake. Boy, that RCT after the designation, they meant you were combat alerted. And then the Korean War broke out. And I got sent to Japan. Yeah, their 7th Division was in Japan, but it was just a cadre and no people in it, you know. They emptied out the stockades and everything to fill up the 7th Division again. Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, fight a war.
Yeah, I was in the 60 mortars, 60 millimeter mortar section of F Company from the 32nd Regiment.
7th Division, 32nd Regiment?
Yep.
I remember that. Well, when I was in Washington, I cut the grass. And picked up trash and did all of that. First Lieutenant's Division, they called it. And then when I went on board the Intrepid, I was in boiler room number 2. We made the steam that propelled the ship and did everything. It did everything. Without the steam, the ship wouldn't run.
Yes, when I landed at Incheon, I had a rifle without any bullets. They took him away from us on the landing craft because one of the idiots fired his rifle off.
Oh, good God.
And it ricocheted inside the ship. So they took all our shells away from us. I only had 3.
Until you
Yeah.
got on the front line, huh?
Yeah. Oh, they gave them back to us after we got on shore. Yeah. We stole one. We didn't get caught.
Sweet, that's good. Tell her how you did it, though.
We were walking. It was about, I don't know, almost dark. And we would walk about 4 or 5 miles and getting tired. And there was a Jeep sitting alongside the road. There was nobody in it. Nobody claimed it. And it started.
Was
So
it
we took it.
American Army issued, or
Yeah.
it was Army Jeep?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was in Korea. In Japan, you didn't do those things. They had MPs. We drove it as far as we wanted to, and then we just left it for somebody else.
Well, I was on board the aircraft carrier when we picked up, our helicopters picked up Scott Carpenter because he didn't land where he was, the capsule didn't land where he was supposed to. It landed downrange, so the helicopters went out there and got him. Yeah. I was up on the flight deck when he got off the helicopter. I saw him. Yeah, he was an astronaut. He was like the 3rd or 4th one to go up, I think. I can't remember.
That was a terrible experience that I tried to forget.
And they're bringing it up, huh?
Yeah, it was in Japan, and I had a choice of either going to a mountain training school or a ski school, ski training. And I figured skiing would be a lot better than climbing mountains. So I took that, and there was a ski school in Japan, Karuizawa, I think it was. Anyways, it was way up on the mountain, and there was a tow rope. You hang on to this tow rope, and it pulls you up the mountain. Well, we got to the top of this mountain. It must be about 5,000 feet. And they turned the loose and said, "Go." Nobody told me how to stop. At the foot of the mountain, at the foot of the ski slope, were a bunch of sake joints. Maybe half the size of this room, built with sticks and mud and paper and that, you know. And I came down the mountain. Like I said, nobody told me how to stop. I took the sake joint and everybody that was in it.
For a ride, huh?
Yep. It cost me,
Uh-oh.
I think it cost me about 4,000 yen to replace it. But anyway, that was the end of my skiing experience. I didn't go back up anymore. It was the first one was on 902. That's a hill number.
Mm-hmm.
I got shot in the back. And the second one was coming down off another hill. I got shrapnel in the stomach.
Like a mortar shell or something exploded, or?
Yeah, it
Grenade?
was a mortar shell.
Okay.
But the third one was a rifle, a sniper, went right through my knee and come out the other side. That was on Thanksgiving 1951.
You said a total of 6 days for all 3.
Yeah, 6 days, no sleep. The first time, I went back to the aid station, and day and a half. Second time, it was half a day. And the third time was 4.5 days because that's shot in the leg.
Yeah, you couldn't walk. Huh?
I couldn't walk in there. But that was it.
They just put some clean it up, put some bandage on it, and send you back.
Yeah. That was something, that was a roadblock. The Chinese or North Koreans were dressed up like South Koreans. They was like civilians, and they were coming through, and we just had to stop them. And we did the 227th North Korean Regiment. We held them up for about 8 hours. And that was enough for them to pull back and for us to get out of there too.
Oh, okay. Weren't you in the, your division drove the North Koreans all the way back to the Chinese border?
All the way to the Yalu River.
Yeah, Yalu River, and then the Chinese got involved.
Yeah.
And they just amassed, and then they drove y'all back to the 38th parallel?
There was 2 bridges over the Yalu River. Come from Manchuria to North Korea.
Okay.
The Yalu River was in the middle of winter time. It was winter time, December. And it was frozen over. The bridges were the only way to get across the river. And MacArthur wanted to bomb the bridges.
Yeah.
And Truman wouldn't let him. Well, we sit up there and watch 120,000 Chinamen cross the bridge. That's when we got out of there. Those infantry badges were only obtained by a person who was in the infantry and it was shot at for at least 30 days. In other words, you had to be in a rifle company. And when you're up on the front line for 30 days, you got awarded one of those. But infantry is the only one that is authorized those badges.
Did you get any medals?
No. I wasn't in any combat.
He was in combat. The closest he came was when
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Cuban Missile
I was extended for a year, but it was settled and I got out on time. They dropped the extension.
About 1 letter every 3 months.
Yeah, I remember Mom waiting for letters to come from you.
Yeah.
Oh, just wrote letters. Well, it was a lot different. I could get on the phone and call. And different than what Al did.
And I would get letters almost every day.
Oh.
And I remember I was working at Abbott Proctor and Payne, and Wilfred was our mail person and our runner. And the letters would come all at once. They wouldn't come every day, they'd come all at once. And Wilfred would hold them. And every few minutes he'd come and say, oh, here's a letter. And he did it. One day there were 7 letters.
If you have never eaten sea rations, you couldn't describe it.
It's dehydrated food.
Yeah. And
That's the way it is.
we were sitting on top of a mountain where the closest water was about 8,000 feet below,
So you melted?
and the helicopter dropped in K rations.
K rations?
They had to add water,
Yeah, K rations.
to them to make them soluble.
You had to heat it up somehow or another, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the food was good. It was in the Navy, and we went through the chow line.
Yes, they were all from World War II, though. The older supplies. The ammunition we got was from World War II. The sea rations we got was from prior to World War II.
It wouldn't spoil.
Huh?
It wouldn't spoil. They could keep it forever.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't think they did. But there was one time it was in the Navy when we got out of Honam on the Navy ships. I don't know if they ate like this for always, but we were standing. They don't sit down at the table. They stand. And I found out why. It's metal tables, and you got metal trays. And as the ship rolls, the tray comes sliding by.
You eat the next guy's food as it goes by. Yeah.
That was it.
You don't have to answer that one if you don't want to.
There's a kid in the room.
PG-13 rated. What did you do when you were on leave?
No, we,
Oh,
in Korea, I don't think we got any leave while we were in
No.
Korea.
I was going to say, you don't have leave at wartime, do you?
No.
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 You don't take a break.
No, it's just
No.
when you don't have.
It's when you get wounded, that's when you take a break.
Yeah. The only time was after the Korean War, the ceasefire was all that time. I went back to Korea, and I had 5 days R&R in Japan. I don't talk about that.
No, don't.
No. Yeah. I was in.
Well, it was a ceasefire. It's
Ceasefire,
not peace.
yeah,
I mean,
ceasefire.
but anyway, ceasefire.
in Black Knight compound. That was the area that we were at, just below the DMZ.
38th parallel.
Yeah, that was when Chinese came in to the war in 1950, and we were up in the Yalu River on the Chinese border. It was 30 below zero,
Mm.
and we didn't have any clothes or anything like that winter time. It was we were in summer uniform, and got both my feet frozen about up to there. And the medic, not medic, a
Corpsman?
yeah, up in the Navy ship.
Mm-hmm.
He well, he was the first one to notice it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he doctored him up, and they did a pretty good job on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't lose any toes or anything, or anything?
No, got them all.
So they
all
weren't-
10 of them.
Just when some of the guys would go on liberty, you know, and when we were pulled into a port or something, and they'd go on liberty, and it was like they'd never been on liberty, and they were going to celebrate to no end, and they'd come back in just snockered. I mean, we had some sneak alcohol in their pea coats, get on board ship that way, and some of them were really sick, poor guys.
That's a good question. It happened after I joined. The ones we had, they were real good.
Yeah.
They were all our officers when I was there with them were West Point cadets, and they were good. Now what come later on, I don't know. But West Point cadets were really sharp.
Everybody had to depend on everybody else during wartime.
That's right.
Well, I didn't know John McCain. I mean, he was an airman, a pilot on the aircraft carrier when I served on it. But as far as other sailors and everybody and the officers, everybody got along, respected the officers, and you do what you're told. It's a mind game. You make up your mind to do what you're told. You're better off. Don't fight it. Yeah, the aircraft carrier just came out of what they call dry dock. They bring you into a dry dock, and they pump all the water. Oh, it's not dry. It's got water. You close the gate, and then they pump all the water out, and the aircraft carrier sits there all exposed. You've probably seen pictures of it. And you do all the refurbishing for months and fix things and replace things, and then they flood the dock, and you go out for sea trials for 3 or 4 days, and then you come back in. You drop off civilians, because you have civilians on board, testing equipment and everything that you repaired. and you tie up dock, and the next day was my last day.
January 4th, 1962.
And I remember carrying that sea bag and saying, "See you guys," and down the ramp I went and got in the car.
It was in August.
August again.
Yeah. That's the only thing I remember about it, being in August. Taken. What was that? Anyway, they were sent down to Repo Depot, what they call it. That's where they give you reassignment and everything. And there was a sergeant major. I'll never forget him. He was in charge of getting all these people to re-enlist. You know, we wanted everybody to re-enlist. But come to my turn, we were sitting at the table, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You got a terrific career." He said, "We can make you an E7." I said, "You can?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "And where will I go?" He said, "Well, we'll send you to a signal company." There was only one signal company left, and they were heading for Vietnam. And I said, "No, thank you."
So you were E6 when you got out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stayed sober, I know that. Ah, Christ.
It wasn't Sears, was it?
No, I started out in Kentucky in an Irving air shoot factory, and they made plastic covers for Nike missiles. Until I got in an argument with the boss, and I got fired. Then I went up to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Did I join anything for veterans?
Like organizations or groups or
Like the
reunions?
And what about that group that you at the?
The
It's just the reunion group. Was that something special or what?
Yes, there was a group called the 32nd Regimental something or other, and we met once a year at different places like Fort Benning, Fort Campbell, Fort Drum, and just met all together with families and that. You know, we had to get together, and then they died off mostly, getting old, and so it broke up.
Just a life member for the Intrepid Society, you know.
I give up 12 years.
Yeah.
I gained a whole lot.
And if you had the choice, would you do it all over again?
Yeah, I think so.